I have been with my fiance for a little over 5 years. We met at a friend's birthday party, and honestly, our first interaction was a disaster. He accidentally spilled wine on my dress. I snapped at him, and he, instead of getting defensive, just looked at me and said, "Well, I guess I owe you a new one and dinner." Somehow that awkward beginning turned into something magical. He made me laugh, listened when I spoke, remembered small things about me that no one else noticed. 1 month in, he showed up at my apartment in the middle of the night with a mug of soup when I texted him that I felt sick. 3 months in, we were saying, "I love you." A year later, we were moving in together. We built a life, shared bills, split holidays between families, adopted a rescue dog named Maple. We created routines, Sunday pancakes, evening walks, watching trashy reality TV even though he claimed to hate it. He was my best friend, my home, my person. He proposed to me last December, on my birthday. We were staying at a small cabin in the mountains, surrounded by snow. It wasn't a grand gesture, but it didn't need to be. He held my hands, looked into my eyes, and simply said, "Let's grow old together." I sobbed. He sobbed. I said yes. We started wedding planning slowly. We were thinking next fall. I was saving Pinterest ideas. He was talking about honeymoon destinations. Everything felt solid, secure, until 2 weeks ago. It was a normal evening. He was in the shower, and I sat on the couch to check my email on his laptop because mine had died. A Slack notification popped up. A message from someone with no name, just a strawberry emoji. Something about it felt off. I clicked, and my heart dropped. What I found was a full-blown relationship. Hundreds of messages, flirting, innuendos, pet names, screenshots of private jokes, voice notes, a photo of her in lingerie, plans to meet up, mentions of past dinners, hotel rooms. She always signed off with the strawberry emoji. I sat there reading with numb fingers and a racing heart until I heard the water stop. I slammed the laptop shut and sat frozen. He came out, kissed me on the head, and asked if I wanted tea. Like nothing had happened. I didn't say anything that night. I didn't sleep either. I lay beside him staring at the ceiling, every message replaying in my mind. The next morning I told him I was going to work from a cafe. Instead, I drove straight to my sister's place. I couldn't breathe. I told her everything between sobs, and she just held me like I was a little girl again. I stayed there all day. That night I came back. He looked surprised to see me. Maybe he knew. Maybe the guilt was finally catching up. I sat him down and said, "Who is?" His face changed immediately. Not surprised, not confused, just guilty. He said it was nothing, that she was a coworker, that it was just emotional, and that it never went that far. He admitted they kissed once on a business trip but swore there was no sex. He said he knew it was wrong and had been planning to end it. He said, "I never stopped loving you." He cried, he dropped to his knees, begged me not to leave, promised therapy, said he'd do anything, and a part of me still loved him. That's what makes this so hard. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just told him I needed space, packed a bag, and went back to my sister's. It's been 2 weeks. He sends texts every day, long ones, apologizing, telling me how much he misses me, that he's made the biggest mistake of his life, that the woman meant nothing, that he's deleted all her messages, blocked her, told HR about the situation since it was inappropriate for work. He says he's already scheduled couples counseling for us if I'm willing. But here's the thing. I don't know if I am willing. I'm broken in ways I didn't expect. Not just my heart, my trust, my sense of self. I keep thinking, how could I not see it? Was I that blind? Or did I just ignore the signs? There were signs looking back. Last October, he came home late from a team dinner and smelled different. Like perfume, not mine. He brushed it off. A few months ago, he suddenly changed his phone password, said it was for security. I believed him because I trusted him. I always thought I'd leave if someone cheated. Zero tolerance. I saw my mother forgive my dad too many times, and I promised myself I'd never be that woman. But now I'm realizing something painful. Love makes fools of all of us, because I still love him. I miss his laugh, the way he used to bring me tea when I had cramps, how he'd wrap his arms around me in the kitchen while I cooked, how we'd whisper plans for the future as we drifted to sleep. But now all of that feels tainted. I keep having dreams, nightmares really, of him with her, of walking in and finding him smiling at someone else the way he used to smile at me. And yet part of me still wants to forgive. Is that insane? My sister says I deserve better. My friends say once a cheater, always a cheater. But they're not the ones lying awake at night, remembering how he held my hand during my mom's surgery, how he stayed up with me through my panic attacks, how we danced barefoot in the rain once, laughing like kids. I feel like I'm mourning a person who isn't dead, a relationship that's still technically alive but feels like a ghost. The worst part? We haven't even told our families. My mom still texts me about wedding venues. His mom sent me a photo of my dress inspiration last night, saying, "You're going to be the most beautiful bride." I had to turn off my phone. I don't know what I'm going to do. Sometimes I want to call him and scream. Other times I want to crawl into his arms and pretend none of it happened. Mostly I just sit here, frozen between love and rage, between heartbreak and habit. I haven't made a decision yet, but I know I can't stay in this limbo forever. I just needed to get this all out, to write it down, maybe to feel like I still exist somewhere outside of this pain. I didn't tell my mom, not at first. She kept texting me, links to flower arrangements, DJ recommendations, random wedding trivia. I couldn't bring myself to say anything. Every time I saw her name on my screen, I felt this knot in my chest tighten. But eventually I cracked. She called me one afternoon and said, "Honey, you sound tired. Everything okay with the wedding?" And I just started crying, right there on the kitchen floor of my sister's apartment, clutching the phone like it was the only thing holding me together. I told her everything. Between gasps and sobs and long, awkward silences, I laid it all out. There was a pause, a long one. And then she said, "Oh, sweetheart, I wish I could say I'm surprised, but men, sometimes they don't grow as fast as we do." She wasn't angry. She didn't scold me or tell me to leave him. She just said, "You don't have to make any decisions today or tomorrow or next week. You just have to breathe." I think that was the first time in days I actually did. The next night I couldn't sleep. I found myself scrolling through old photos on my phone, random selfies, beach trips, that one photo of us at IKEA where we were both exhausted but happy, sitting on a fake couch eating cinnamon rolls. And then I stumbled on a video I'd forgotten about. It was from 3 years ago, during the early months of the pandemic. We were stuck at home, and he'd planned a date night in our tiny living room. He dressed up in a suit, made pasta from scratch, badly, and lit candles. I remember feeling so safe that night, so chosen, so loved. Watching it now felt like watching someone else's life, like a movie that ended halfway through. I agreed to go to therapy, not because I'd forgiven him, but because I needed answers. I needed to understand if there was anything left worth saving, or if I was just clinging to a memory. He picked me up that day, dressed in the same jacket he wore the night he proposed. His eyes looked tired. He didn't try to hold my hand, just opened the door for me and said quietly, "Thanks for coming." The session was awkward, raw. He admitted to more than I expected. Said the emotional affair lasted over a year, that they met on more than one business trip, that sometimes after I fell asleep, he'd stay up texting her. I felt like vomiting, but he also said I hated myself for it, every time, but I didn't know how to stop. The therapist asked why he did it. He said, "I felt like I was disappearing, like I was losing myself in the life we were building." She made me feel noticed, like I still mattered. It stung, a lot, but weirdly it also made something click. Not excuse it, never, but explain it. He wasn't lying when he said he loved me. He just got lost, and instead of talking to me, he looked for escape. That night after the session, we sat in the car for almost an hour without speaking. Finally, I asked, "Do you still think about her?" He didn't answer right away. Then he said, "Not the way you think. I think about what I risked, what I almost lost, what I might still lose." I nodded. My throat felt tight. "I'm not promising anything," I told him. "This doesn't mean we're okay. It just means I'm willing to look at the wreckage with you, he whispered. That's more than I deserve. Later that week, I went back to our apartment just to get a few things. It felt foreign, like walking into a replica of my life. But Maple, our dog, recognized me instantly. She barked, jumped, licked my face like no time had passed. I sat on the floor with her and cried into her fur for what felt like hours. He wasn't home. I'd asked him not to be, but he left a note on the counter. No pressure, no expectations, just hope. Jay, I still don't have answers. I still don't know if we'll make it. But for the first time in weeks, I don't feel numb. I feel real, angry, grieving, aching, but real. And maybe that's the first step.